The Volquest 2-minute drill is brought to you by Craven Wings.
With Rob Lewis, BrentHubs, Volquest.com, a little Craven Wings full court press as Tennessee loses in the quarterfinal round of the SEC tournament to Missouri 79-71. Rob, what's your biggest takeaway from the Vols' loss to the Tigers?
I mean, just how bad they were on defense, and especially in the second half. And Missouri shoots 60%. They scored 49 points in the second half. I probably wouldn't have thought that was possible. Both 60%, 49 points against this Tennessee defense, or at least the defense we've seen. I mean, I'm not surprised they lost. I think me and you are on the same page. Almost nothing this team does, good or bad, surprises us. But I'm surprised that they lost today because of their defense, pretty much.
Rob, this time of year we talk a lot about matchups, right? To make a run in the tournament, whether it's your conference tournament or the postseason tournament, the NCAA tournament, the matchups got to be favorable. Tennessee's played this Missouri team twice, and Missouri shot 56% against them both times. Is this a case where they're a bad matchup for Tennessee?
I mean, I wouldn't have really thought so today. I mean, before today, Hubbard. But the evidence you just threw out there, I mean, it kind of suggests that it is. I mean, I don't, they had Zakai the first time. I mean, Tennessee hasn't played this team at full strength. They were without Josiah for the whole game. First time, Julian in the second half today. Obviously, they don't have Zakai. But, nobody has scored more than 80 points on Tennessee all year long, except Missouri scored 86. They very nearly did it today, getting to 79. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of points to maybe this is just a bad matchup for the Vols.
Concerns for me for this Tennessee team. One, Josiah, if he doesn't show up and score and play, Tennessee's going to have a hard time, even though they got great contribution today offensively from Meshack and Key got off the deck. But Josiah's absence and his struggles on both ends of the floor today, one. And two, for me, it's what this team does in the final 4 minutes of a contested basketball game. Those are the two biggest head scratchers and the two biggest concerns I have for this team moving forward. Are those valid?
I think they're really bad. I mean, I don't know Josiah for sure. I mean, he goes, and I'm not picking on the kid because, I mean, he's done a ton for this basketball program as a great representative. But to go from 20-7 yesterday to, 3 points and 1 rebound today, that's a pretty huge disparity. And, you just mentioned it. Tyreek and Jemai, they combined for 30 points. If you told me before the game that was going to happen, like, wow, Tennessee's going to roll. But your point about the last 4 minutes, man, even more just like the last 2 minutes today, Hubbard, that one sequence, it's tied 69-69, can go either way. Tennessee gives up a 3, then they completely botched the inbounds play. I mean, just botched it. I mean, it can't inbound the basketball after a made bucket. With 1:40 left, Missouri hits another 3, and in the span of 25 seconds, you've gone from tied to down 6, and it's over. And I mean, there was a lot of reasons Tennessee lost, but not being able to inbound the ball in that situation, that's poor.
Yeah, no question. And again, I think that's a concern when you look at Auburn. They were there and they couldn't do anything the last 6 minutes of the game when it got really tight, possession by possession stuff. The Florida game, you look at what happened. Tennessee looked to be in decent control there. They obviously
Vanderbilt.
They don't close out Vanderbilt. They don't close out Missouri the first time. I mean, they're going to find themselves in an NCAA tournament game, maybe in the first round or the second round, where in the final 4 minutes it's going to be a tight one possession game. Does this team have the mental fortitude to close games out like that? Because they've had more than their fair share of struggle at that this year.
And I mean, I don't question this team's mental toughness. I mean, just because of the way they get treated by their head coach on the daily, but I don't know that that's the same thing as having the focus and the details and the execution down at the end of games. And you can't point to Zakai being out because he was there for the meltdown against Vanderbilt, the meltdown against Missouri. So I mean, I don't know the answer to the question, Hubbard, but it's fair to ask just based on what the list you just rattled off. Can they close? And to me, the biggest head scratching part of it is how good they typically are on defense. And these games we're talking about them losing. I mean, I would say that their defense broke down. They certainly broke down against Vandy. It broke down big time today in the last 2 minutes. And when you hang your hat on that and you can't come up with stops when you need them, I mean, that's a concern.
Yep. No doubt, because this team's going to have to get some stops next week in the NCAA tournament. Back to Knoxville. Rob, I guess, get some rest and then get back to tidying things up. I mean, at this point, you kind of are what you are. There's no reinventing the wheel here this last week. What do you think the biggest focus is for this team?
And I mean, turnovers, ball security. I mean, again, some of that is probably a byproduct of not having Zakai, but 14 turnovers in both these games, 28 combined. They had more turnovers than the opponent, 2 games in a row. And, you know, we're 30-something games in. I don't know if you're going to fix the post play, but, man, Hubbard, just incredibly inconsistent from the big guys. I mean, Olivier had a really nice game, 11 points, 10 rebounds. Adu, Awaka, Bureaus, scoreless from those 3. And that's not going to get it done.
Well, Tennessee didn't get it done on a Friday afternoon in Nashville. Volunteers exit the SEC tournament in the quarterfinals after losing to Missouri. Full coverage at Volquest.com. That's going to do it for this edition of the Craven Wings Full Court Press. For Rob Lewis, I'm Brent Hubbs.
When you're craving wings, it's got to be Craven Wings. Online at cravenwings.com.